Be chairing the meeting this evening. John is sick on the phone. Hi, John. Before I get started and call the meeting to order, I'm just going to respectfully ask anyone on Zoom, basically John, can you raise your hand when you want our attention if you want to speak, so we don't speaking over stuff. I'm assuming you can hear us, John.
He's muted.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I know. Thanks, John. All right, if everyone would rise for the pledge of allegiance, please. Pledge allegiance to God, United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the March 10th, 2026 Town Council meeting. We have 4 councilors physically present. We have John James on the phone. I've asked John to raise his hand when he wants to chime in, so we don't have anyone speaking over each other. Our first order of business this evening, the public hearing for our Pumpkin Town TIF amendment has been canceled, and I believe we have later on in our agenda an item to reschedule that public hearing. Our next order of business is to consider bond fund applications. I want to provide some context for the council and the public. The bond fund is a fund that was established by Elizabeth Bond. I can't remember the time or the year, but it was a while ago. Upon passing away, she left a lot of money to the community of South Berwick, to be used specifically for winter recreation or prioritizing winter recreation. And those funds were placed in a investment fund to accrue growth, to grow. And our responsibility as counselors is every year, any growth that has occurred on those funds, we have the ability to allocate 70% of those to applicants who have applied for bond funds. So that's what we are here to consider this evening. And give me one moment. We have, it's very warm in here today. So for the past year, the amount that the dividends that the account has grown by, I guess, $47,237.92. As I mentioned, the council, we are allowed to allocate up to 70% of that each year. That is the amount of $33,066.54. Now I will note that the town council is our kind of purview. If the council decides to distribute more than that number that I just stated, that is our choice, and we can vote and choose to do so. Councilors, anyone have any questions on bond fund, what it is, what we're talking about?
Nope. Thanks a lot.
Public, any questions, comments? Great. We have received a total of 8 applications for a grand total of $135,785. I'm just going to list through all of those applications and the dollar amounts, and then I think the best way to work through this is to kind of go through item by item. Counselors have questions or anything you want to discuss on that item. Then we'll move on to the next one. And the goal this evening is to make a number of motions to distribute those funds however we see fit this evening. The first application that we received is from Marshwood Softball Boosters for uniforms in the amount of $3,600. We received another application from Marshwood Softball Boosters for equipment in the amount of $2,100. An application from the South Berwick Library for an outdoor play area in the amount of $2,100. An application from South Berwick Recreation for a playground at Aggie Field for $89,000. An application from Emerysbridge Community Improvement Association for $17,485. Shoetown, an application from a local resident for Shoetown design for a playground in the amount of $15,000. An application from Marshwood Softball, specifically for Rollinsford field maintenance for the amount of $5,000. And lastly, an application from Brixham Repertory for $1,500. We can start with Marshwood Softball Boosters. Marshwood Softball Boosters have submitted a big package. All of this is included in our sporting decks. They are seeking these funds to purchase additional uniforms. They're proposing purchasing 15 to 18 uniforms per team for a total of 30 to 36 uniforms designed specifically for middle school girls softball. I'm just going to read the conclusion here. Marshwood Middle School girls softball respectfully requests funding to purchase new uniforms so their athletes can compete in properly fitted sport appropriate apparel. This investment will directly impact the comfort, confidence, and experience of our players while strengthening the foundation of the Marshwood softball program. We respectfully request funding for $3,600 to make this vision a reality. Counselors have thoughts on uniforms for Marshwood softball.
There are people from the softball program here, is it?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Yeah, I just have questions about that, like are we currently charging anyone to do it? Is there a fee to sign up for it? Can it be collected through that? That's just questions go on. I'm not against it, but I just want more information.
Yeah. I will say, and I'm kind of looking to John to maybe chime in here, and historically, we have used some bond funds for baseball and softball in the past, and I think it's kind of been like a council, kind of council decision based on the other applications that were received that year. Every year, we kind of get a different, more explorative applicants for this. John, anything to add there? Your hands up, good job. Except you're not unmuted.
You're on mute. Still on mute.
Can you unmute him, Kim?
Nope, I got two microphones going. I'm sorry. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, you're good, thank you.
Yeah, traditionally we have used this a few years back. We used it to buy the ski team, Marshwood ski team uniforms. We have used it for baseball for different things. We did use it. We did authorize it last year for a scoreboard for the ball fields. I was told that somebody was going to be in the audience tonight to speak to these from Marshwood softball, so I'm surprised there's nobody there. But uniforms, they do, yes, you do pay to play, Joel. And they do some fundraisers, but Little League really limits you what you can do. And uniforms are a huge expense when it comes to shirts and pants for the girls. It's been an ongoing for years expense to come up with that money to put them in good uniforms.
I just clarify, this is not Little League, this is Marshwood Middle School, so this is school, like, their program.
Oh,
Like,
Yeah.
oh, my apologies. I'm sorry. I thought this was Barthwood Youth Softball. That's my confusion.
okay.
I can't speak to that one then. I'm sorry.
Sorry, is there someone from?
We are from the Marshwood Little League. Yeah, not middle school boosters though. Yeah,
Okay, no worries.
so we're further down the line.
Okay,
So
okay.
We're here to represent the Little League.
Okay.
Okay.
Sorry,
And so-
Alex, on it.
I know, that's why it's like, we wanna make sure that it didn't get confused, and we didn't wanna not get hurt
Understood.
there because of.
So you're here for the Rollinsford field maintenance work.
Correct.
Great, we'll get to you when we get there, thank you. So we don't have anyone here from softball, from middle school softball then. We don't have to make a decision on this one right now. I think it's worthwhile for us to go through and talk through all of them and see where there's appetite from the council. Any other discussion anyone wants to have? Marshwood softball boosters uniforms.
Well, I mean, I guess my one question is, and I think it applies to the next one as well, but it seems like these are school functions. So I guess I'm wondering why we would be funding something that, I don't know what the school budget is for these types of things, but, we have our own budgetary issues and, requests, of which we have a lot of tonight. So, I'm just, I'm concerned with like funding a school operation when we actually have municipal requests.
One thing I will just add, and kind of explain the context of it, the specific language in the Elizabeth Vaughn Fund reads, as conveyed in the will of Elizabeth R. Vaughn, projects that enhance the recreation of the youth of South Berwick with an emphasis on winter recreation are the beneficiaries of the fund. And so, speaking for myself, only as a counselor for 9 years, have always tried to look at this through that lens of focusing on youth recreation. If we have winter applicants, of course, prioritizing those, that's just my 2 cents. The council can decide however we want.
I'd like to move to table this application as well as the following one from the same applicant for now until we get through the rest of the applications.
I think we're just having an open discussion about all of them at the moment, just to kind of talk through and see what everyone's thoughts are and then figure out, that was my intention, was just work through all of them. So I don't necessarily feel like.
Put a motion on the so you can do something.
Okay, so there's a motion on the table. And the motion is to table Marshwood softball boosters, both items until,
Until we get through the remaining items, and
okay,
we can go back.
okay. All those in favor of tabling Marshwood softball boosters, uniforms and equipment
Do we have a
until,
second?
oh, sorry, thank you. Who seconded?
No,
Yeah,
yeah,
I got it, yeah.
Second,
Second, Joel second, thank you. A little rusty. All those in favor of tabling the Marshwood softball boosters items until later in this discussion, say aye.
aye,
Aye.
Paul. Joel, okay. John,
Aye.
Mallory goes aye, we'll table these till later. Okay, so that moves us on to Southwark Library outdoor play area. Melissa's here, would you be open to coming up and speaking to your application, if you don't mind? And just introduce yourself to everyone.
Sure. My name is Melissa Robinson. I'm the director of the South Berwick Public Library. And our plan or our hope is to create a small outdoor, recreation area for young children. And we're working with a local Eagle Scout, Connor Bragg, who's here tonight. And he is going to build for us a cart that can go in and out of the library. And on the cart are gonna be some large building materials. So that'll facilitate gross motor play and kind of engineering with planks and ramps and things of that nature. And then we're also hoping to purchase an outdoor pretend play market to facilitate dramatic play. The play market can stay outside during the nice weather and just be moved in to storage in the winter. And the cart will go in and out depending on the weather and the library schedule for the day.
Anyone have any questions?
yes, where exactly were you thinking of getting it set up? at?
So it'll be set up on the side lawn of the library. So there's a tree and there's a picnic table over there and a couple of chairs that parents can sit in. But it's a nice place because the ramp goes right down there, so we can take the cart up the ramp, set it up there and bring it back up.
And so I guess like the thought is that how, like supervision, I guess. So or is this tied to the library? Is this a separate, like completely separate thing? Like are we, I'm kind of trying to understand how this is gonna operate, I guess.
So we'll be tied to the library, we'll be, available for anyone, the pretend play market. We'll also have items for kids to bring out to play there. We're thinking about maybe checking them out, like a box kit, to encourage people to clean them up and bring them back inside when they're done. So it'll be like almost a drop-in program,
Okay.
so to speak. There are other libraries in the area. Rochester has a successful model like, sort of like this. Theirs is a little bit different, but of a cart that they put out certain days of the week for kids to use and to kind of play.
Any other questions for Melissa? John, anything?
Nothing. I think this is one of the things that to fund what we've traditionally used it for if it wasn't winter sports.
I personally think it's a good idea as well. I mean, I walk by there every day after picking up my daughter from Central School, and she goes there every Thursday. Having something outside for days exactly like today. I know that area you're talking about, the surrounding, I think it's would not only for the kids play on, but also for people also walking by to see kids outside the library and know that there's activity there, draw them in.
Yeah, I would agree. I think that's, and exactly what we're trying to do with these funds. All right. Any other conversation on this one for the moment? Okay,
Are we taking these one by one or do we?
what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna kind of keep track of the ones we're kind of consensus
Yeah.
for right now, and then we'll work through at the end, we're just gonna make sure to work through total dollar amount.
We'll have to vote on one by one.
Yes,
Yeah,
so,
we'll
but
go
like
back.
talking through and kind of deciding what ones we're gonna do. Okay, moving on to the next one, Southwark Recreation, playground for Aggie Field. Nikki, I think you're here for this, right? Could you come up and let us know what you're looking for?
Hi, for those who don't know me, I'm the Drake, Recreation Director. And I'm looking to construct a playground over at Aggie Field. So sort of a, something that's expressed to us all the time. We have thousands of people over at Aggie Field every year. And we are one of the towns with that, where we have athletic fields, so we don't have a playground there, so there's really not anything for siblings to do or kids to do once their game is over. So we're sort of, our town doesn't currently have a playground for that 5 to 13, 14-year-old age group. So when we were kind of thinking of where an ideal place for this playground to go, and it seemed like Aggie would be a great place for kind of bringing the playground to where the people already are. So I've been working with a couple designers, I'm starting at, you know, the ground level of, let's come up with a design, let's see if we can get the funding to see if this is something we can do. Then if we can do, we'll go through all the proper steps to make sure, you know, we're following all the protocols to get something like this constructed in town. So I've been working with some designers, trying to come up with a playground design that would be a little more on the challenging side. So we could keep those 8, 9, 10-year-olds engaged that often grow out of playgrounds that are for this age group. So I've been working for many years growing reserves in our operation accounts. And I'm at the point now where I felt like I could come to the bond fund and ask for a match. The idea behind this playground is it would be used year round. I know it is, you know, it is something that's primarily during 9 months of the year, but it is something that would be available to the public year round. I think thousands of people are going to be impacted by this, everyone in our community. We have visitors from other communities coming in all the time. So that's sort of the proposal on the table would be to create a playground over at, or at least start the steps to create a playground over at Aggie Field.
Nikki, and maybe this is a Nikki and Jen question, but I know that the recreation department, because of the, you know, registrations we collect for summer camps and all of these other things, like we have other revenues that are kind of relevant for recreation that don't come into play for our municipal budget. Can you just kind of explain that for everybody? Do you follow my question?
So we do have reserved accounts for all of the revenue that comes in for our programming, comes in through into these reserve accounts. And we have them broken up. So we have, you know, one for summer camp, one for youth soccer, Powerhouse. So the idea behind these reserve accounts is that all the revenue that comes in for Powerhouse comes into an account and that goes towards things for Powerhouse. If our engine were to fail and we buy the rope every few years, it comes out of that account. You know, we have the same thing for summer camp. So all the invoices that are paid out through summer camp and all our revenue that comes in for summer camp is in, you know, this reserves account for summer camp. We created one for youth soccer once the youth soccer program really got going. So that way, last year we purchased nets out of it. In the past, we purchased, we've purchased benches for the field. So all of when I'm purchasing balls and, you know, operating equipment, balls every year, shirts, things like that, they go through that account. But then as it grows, the idea behind those accounts is it's going back into those programs. So, you know, that's why the benches went in last year when we had a drought and we were looking to water the fields. We were gonna water the fields. It was money coming out of the youth soccer account so that we could get youth soccer going. That's where that money was coming from. We also have like a recreation other, which is kind of where the skiing program comes in, all of our after school enrichment programs, Snapology, Coyote Club. So the revenues come in those accounts and then the invoices are paid out of those accounts. But over time, that money does grow. And so the idea, again, is to put it back into the community. Did I gender that? Okay.
Yes, that's perfect. Yeah, self-funding accounts.
Yeah.
And so these are accounts that we don't typically kind of deal with, for lack of a better word, through our normal annual budget process. And is that because these are 501(c)(3)? What is the reason for why those are? Okay.
They've been self-funded because we charge the people to go into their programs. Like Nikki said, we just use those revenues to offset the expenses.
Yeah.
And as Nikki said, it's taken, 20 years for this surplus to get there, knowing that we would be saving towards something big like this.
Employees are also paid out of there. In the past, if we hired an employee to help with the youth soccer program, that's how they're funded. All of our crew chiefs that work for Powderhouse, all those employees are paid out of there. So the whole idea is that these programs are funding themselves.
So just to kind of follow up on that, Mallory, because I don't know if you're trying to get to that So the money that you have in the accounts that are listed here. Not taxpayer dollars.
No,
Perfect. And the money that we've listed here, that you have is like you have that in the accounts currently.
yes, I have more than that, yeah, we have, it would not, we would still be completely fine and healthy, they would be healthy accounts.
Anyone have any other questions or comments?
Yeah, I have one. Well, I like the idea of a playground at Aggie. It's been talked about between baseball and softball for years. The idea hasn't been put before the town. And if we look at the Shoetown Playground, that was put together, fundraised by the Children's Leadership Council. It was a great group, did a lot of things for youth in town. They went out when a lot of people moved on from that organization, and the town ended up picking up Shoetown Playground for repairs and everything being done without the taxpayers ever having a say on whether they wanted that playground there or not. So I think we have the cart a little bit ahead of the horse unless recreation is going to pay for all repairs and maintenance at that playground, and it's not going to come out of taxpayer dollars.
So clarifying question for me then, off of John's point. The bond fund is separate from tax dollars, correct? So I don't think we don't need a formal process to match up with what happened with Shoetown, correct? Like based on, like, we don't need to bring it to the town, because as was stated, this is not utilizing taxpayer dollars.
Like, are you sort of getting at like any expenditure over $10,000 like has to come before town council for approval?
Yeah, so I thought just to John's question, like, I don't know, like, do we need to do that process to like have the town vote on it, because it's not impacting tax dollars? I mean, to the point, will there be enough in these accounts to handle maintenance and everything, or will it be coming to the town?
I mean, there would be enough to handle the maintenance, yeah.
Can I offer my thoughts on this? I totally get where you're coming from related to the maintenance. I do think that it's on town property. It is going to be a town asset. Although perhaps not funded by property tax or taxpayer dollars, it being built by a department of the town, it will become town property. It will be town property. I think a primary step in beginning to develop a project is to ensure that there is funding there. And that, it's sort of I feel like there's like, it's I guess a conundrum where it's like, if you don't have some money to start the development of the project to figure out what the total concrete cost of the project is going to be, then the project will never get off the ground. And I think that's a lot of times why people put in that volunteer effort to get to a point where they, like Nikki is here today, putting something in front of us to try and take that next step. I'm wondering if there could not be, and to address sort of what John was saying, and I had similar concerns related to that review process, again, it becoming a town asset if we were to move forward. If there were any conditions or contingencies that could be put upon by the trustees of the account, which is town council, upon the granting of those funds. For example, it could be, there needs to be some sort of furtherance of a design or concrete pricing to verify that, what the guaranteed cost is going to be, some sort of verification, which should be fairly simple in this case, because it is a town department that we are also in charge of, so to speak, verification of that it is fully funded. And then, from there, that sort of triggers the beginning of the procurement design, development, and procurement process. That's just speaking out loud of how I would, if this were to move forward, how I would see that happening, because we are here acting as trustees for the bond fund. But then if the town comes is granted money from this town, we are now in charge of that money as counselors. You know what I mean?
The thought that I have on this is coming from a conversation at the Planning for Change workshop that happened last week. So Paul and I both attended that, and that entailed a lot of discussion around our growth area here in town as defined in the comprehensive plan, and the need for the town, or the desire, I guess, maybe for the town to reduce our growth area given recent legislation from LD 1829. And I understand that there was a request from the town, maybe from you, Nikki, to make sure that Aggie fields are included in that growth area, keep me honest, DeCarlo. And so I think our intention is to include that entire area in this new growth area. Which I think what that opens up for us is potential grant opportunities. Like that's an intentional move on the town's part to include those in that space, because then there's a bunch of opportunity that comes out of that. And so that is my only hesitation with this. I am in full agreement of, I think your ideas for the playground are beautiful. I think we need this. I would be very curious to understand if there were any other funding source opportunities as a result of the growth area change that we're talking about. But I just want to be really clear, Nikki. I think this is absolutely the direction we need to head in. I think we need something that I think that's absolutely, I really appreciate the creative approach to try to figure out how to fund this, absolutely. And I think there's maybe some still more creative opportunities we can explore from my perspective.
Yeah, I'll second that. I'll lead him, not as a motion. Yeah, I mean, I think it's a great project. I mean, you go out there, we have people coming, you know, from all over in times of soccer games and whatever, from all over the state. I think the creation of this playground would be a really, you know, wonderful thing to have. I think it would help brand the town, what we are as a town, and what we're trying to do, not to mention just the fact that I think it would give, you know, obviously, you know, it looks like a beautiful project. So I think I'm all in favor of that, but I mean, and the reality of it is, the cost of it and what your request is right now is gonna be really hard to meet based on our, you know, what we're looking at. So.
I'll just remind us, technically, if the council decided, we could
Yeah.
allocate the
Right.
full above and beyond.
I do hear what Sam and John said, you know, because I have not seen this go through a process of like public engagement or anything at this point. So I feel like we do need to do that. I can't imagine anybody would have a ton of problems with it, but, you know, so. I guess what I'm saying is I'm in favor of the project. I think it's a great project and it would greatly benefit the town. How we get to that point, I think we need to talk about, because, but I'll back up, you know, what Mallory said. I think if, you know, other funding sources, how we can do that, we need to look at as well.
If I may. Is this not a good funding source for the project? It accomplishes the exact benefit that the what do you call it, beginner, whoever founded the trust set out to accomplish. And from a town council standpoint, with what we're going through related to public safety and the focus of funds towards those efforts that we're doing, I think it would go a long way to the people of our town to show that we actually can accomplish multiple things in all facets of a functioning municipality.
I'm a big, I want this, like, I'll put it out there, like, I live in the area, I have a young family. I went for a walk yesterday and a walk today, and I brought it up to a lot of people. A lot of young kids were like, that would be amazing, we have nothing in the area, to the point you commented on, it's going to impact hundreds, if not thousands of people. I just kind of want to unpack more, like, with the hesitation. Like, I'm kind of hearing from counselors, because like, it seems like there's not gonna be an impact on the taxpayers, it's been being saved for years. For like rec to cover up half of it. We have a quote, it doesn't cover like electrical, water hose, things like that, like it will become an asset, which I think is a positive. I may not, I'm not seeing a negative, but maybe that's just me, like, as we can look at it, a grant that might come, I'm just kind of confused. So I was just wondering.
Well, I think it's the request, I mean, you know, it's $89,000, which is above what we have traditionally done. So, you know, and if we want to talk about that, I'm fine with that, you know. I mean, it's double what we have laid out in front of us as far as cost, so. I mean, I think with all these projects, I'm always interested, are there other sources of funding that may be able to contribute to the project? In order, so that we can, maintain the bond fund is, it's, however it's laid out. But I'm not averse to increase the minimum, so.
I think the minimum, so the current balance is 390,000 plus some. And the minimum set out to be maintained by the grantor, is that the grantor
The bond fund.
is $100,000. So the fund is almost 4 times its minimum. And from what I understand, it is the town council's discretion to be able to distribute more than the 70% of increase over that year. Up to the fund hitting $100,000. I think that's my understanding of it. Or down to, the fund shall never go below 100,000, I think is what it says. So. Yeah. Just,
I just want to be clear, I think it's the right project.
Yeah,
And I wanna
no,
see it
no,
go.
yeah,
I
like-
I'm playing, I'm just struggling
So
with
is the-
like, how much money we have and what we're trying to find.
So is the hesitation the amounts? Is it, you would feel more comfortable if we made it like a larger town vote? Like, I'm just wondering
What is your idea about a larger town vote?
Well,
We're
like-
the trustees of the fund.
I get that, but like, I mean, we already received an email from someone asking like, does this feel like an overstep? Should we have the town vote on it? Like, it's gonna be a large town project. Again, this is not coming from taxpayer dollars, but do we wanna ask what other people would like to see it? Like, I'm voting yes, but like, I wanna make sure people feel more comfortable on it. But if they don't, it just seems like the reason people don't feel comfortable is just a question.
Can I ask a procedural question? Do we have a timeline in which we need to act on these? Can we table any of these and open it up to public comment or solicit public comment rather? Do you know?
You can, but it's set up through the bond fund for you to administrate the funds. If you change the process, then I would recommend you change the process in its entirety for everybody, so everybody's treated equally the same.
Yeah.
Not, so hypothetically, let's single out this playground project, that's great. But what if we single out, the shoot down design playground, and somebody says, well, what are you doing that for? I like that project. You administrate the funds, I think you have a request in front of you. If you were to fund this request, it doesn't matter where the money comes from. If it's the town of Southborough, which it will be, the recreation department, we have to go through the same procurement process no matter where the money comes from. So Nikki will go through that, do that. If it's required to go for code, new code officers here. Certainly it'll have to go to code and standards, and it may have to go to the planning board for site plan review, I don't know if it will. That would be up to those, the people who have that, which they would be required to follow according to code and standard. The project pretty much is how it's funded, I don't think is the issue, you're looking at how it's funded. The other issue is, what do we do once we fund it? How does she wanna do that? If you guys wanna, I think, you could do something like, great, let's fund this and have a workshop. With the code officer and the planner and Nikki and, have your input, so you folks have input, you're welcome to do something like that, but I just think. For the bonds fund process, you should stay the same process you always use.
I agree. I think we either need to stop this conversation completely and ask for public opinion on all of the things, or we need to deal with them all exactly the same.
I guess that was my, or sort of the intent behind, because we are, like, once we if we award this, we're here acting as trustees. The next thing would be we're acting as counselors and, people in charge of distributing those funds to contractors or whomever it may be. That's sort of why I was, when I started thinking about this and how that would work and how that would wrap in the whole public process would be if there were a project fund form that this money would go into, and us as trustees could put contingencies on the distribution, provided it is not against the the will of the trust, contingencies on that distribution, that the project gets done or is fully funded by other sources and you have 3 years to do it or something like that. Yeah, I didn't see anything in what was in there related to the trust that said you couldn't do that. And I imagine as a trustee or as, you know, granting these funds, you want to make sure that when you're granting them, the project gets done, or if it doesn't, they come back. You know what I mean? So that was my original intent in taking that statement about a contingent grant.
Any other conversation or anything on this item? I'm gonna go
Yes.
down.
Just one piece. Joel has mentioned it twice that it's not coming from taxpayer money. And he's right, the $89,000 isn't, and the $89,000 from recreation is not. I didn't get a clear answer, and it could be because I'm not there. Is the rec department gonna cover all the costs of that playground from here on out? Maintenance, equipment, buying new stuff, fixing damaged stuff that happens on playgrounds every day, we know that. Or is that gonna come out of town taxpayer money? Because then it does become, the town should have a say if they want this big of a playground. That's just my 2 cents. I think there needs to be a playground. I just don't want to go into this without having input if the taxpayers have to foot the bill in the end.
And I think Nikki responded and said that maintenance and anything else required will be coming from these recreation funds, not from our taxpayer municipal budget. I want to point out, we did receive one email communication from resident Melissa Costello on this topic, and she's here, and I would like to give her an opportunity to, if she has questions or comments on this particular item, while we have it open.
Melissa Costello, Boyd Corner Road. As always, much respect to Nikki and everything that she has done for our rec department and our program. I think she's a tremendous asset to our town and has brought wonderful programs and the community together. My biggest concern has kind of already been touched upon, but where I understand the funding is completely coming from the rec department, I get that. But I'm just very concerned that there wasn't any kind of like public forum of regardless of who it's funded by, do the residents of this town want this playground? It did say that Public Works was going to be involved in the excavation and demolition of this project. Is the rec department going to pay Public Works to do is the rec department going to subcontract the Public Works department to do the work? Because if not, then it is taxpayers' dollars paying for the demolition work. So even though it is completely and funded by revenue from the recreation program and possibly from the bond fund, it's still in some way a taxpayer responsibility, and they should have some say on this project. I'm just asking for a workshop, a discussion, a hearing, I don't know, just something, just so the taxpayers feel like they have a little bit of say of what their town is going to be shaped to. Thank you.
Any other comments or anything you might have on this? Yes, go ahead.
And that's where I was kind of saying, this is like the first step would be, is the funding even possible? Is this something that we can do? And then the next step would be setting up, we've created us in the office have created design, working with, we've reached out to 2 different playground contractors. We have 2 different designs that we've looked at. The one that I presented is one that company has designed playgrounds all over Maine. He was also the lower of the 2 bids. And if we need to go get a third, we would get a third. But then we also, we would look to go to the rec committee, kind of create, have a playground committee. We can do workshops, like that's all. This is just kind of, what comes first, seeing if the funding is even available, or going through all the steps, to then find out the funding it's not possible. So that's, this is sort of the whole playground kind of initiatives, or it's like over, in my mind, it's over like a 5-year plan. Shoetown needs updates as well. That's also on the radar. That's kind of the, I actually had spoken with them about coming in over when they're doing this to kind of, you know, so we can put together a design for some upgrades there. You know, it's just with Shoetown Park, we've been working on some developing the whole park area. We started that about a year ago. And I just don't think we're ready yet for the big picture plan of how things are gonna work over there. So that's where I was, you know, in the meantime, I was like, can we sneak a little playground in that Aggie? So I don't want it to look like there was no intentions of going to the public, creating the committees, going through the proper channels to make sure that this is something the public would like to see at Aggie.
Thank you, Nikki.
Yeah.
Any other last chance, counselors? Okay, next one for discussion is, application for the Emery's Bridge Community Improvement Association for $17,485. Do we have anyone here to speak about this one? Okay, come on.
Melissa Costello, Boyd's Corner Road. I am also a voting member of the Emery's Bridge Community Improvement Association. 3 years ago, the town council awarded the Emery's Bridge Community Improvement Association the Spirit of America Award because they believed in their mission of how it was bringing the community together. And I think one of the things that we're missing within our recreation of the community is the outdoor sportsmen, the hikers, the campers, the fishers, the hunters, those kind of things. And the schoolhouse has many missions, but one of its greatest is to actually shape the future outdoorsmen of our town. And what they need is to finish their building so they can do that. They need an educational space where the kids can gather and actually learn ethical hunting, safety, camping, just anything like that. And there'll also be a great mentorship program where the adults that are associated to the Emery's Bridge Community Improvement Association have the skills to teach the youth. So they'll also, their plan is once the building is finished, to have that as an educational space, but it will also become a meeting space where all the kids that are involved, they will be scheduling like ice fishing derbies, so taking them on field trips, camping, hiking, fishing, and all that stuff. So, and related to the Vaughn Fund, where it being an outdoor activity fund, I think this is the epitome of helping the schoolhouse get finished so it can be just a great avenue to get the kids outside, because the best family traditions start outside. Questions?
Thank you. Anyone have any questions or discussion on the fund?
Just in terms of, I think, scrolling down here, there was an estimate of cost for the repairs. I'm wondering if there is, this is more of a trust question. If the trust has any, like metrics or process by which to ensure, sort of like I was talking with the playground, like how do we make sure there is money granted that something gets done?
But that's what it goes to.
Yeah.
Just to reassure you, and I think you know, with the prices of building materials, that was actually a lowball estimate. And the great thing about the restoration of the schoolhouse is all of the labor is donated by local contractors, local landscapers, so it also brings the community together that way. So for that list that was submitted, like I said, is a low end of materials. They're probably more in the 25,000 grand of what they need for materials, but that was a starting point. They can save receipts if you'd like and, you know, resubmit them, but,
Yeah, I know.
yeah.
Yeah, it's like, just from as a trustee, I don't know how in the past the fund has verified the projects got completed or, yeah.
Absolutely.
So, on that point, does the entity have additional funding if it were to go over to complete work?
Yep, and their fundraising is ongoing. They have community yard sales where all of the proceeds from the people that sell their things, they actually donate back to the schoolhouse. They have a hunter's breakfast every year. In the future, they're hoping to hold maybe some family bingo nights where they raise money, I know that's not such an outdoor activity, but still fun, maybe some drinks involved. Yes, their fundraising is still ongoing. I do believe they said that they had at least a $5,000 in savings match right now, which is not a complete match, but it's something that they can contribute to the process.
I'll give it.
No, I mean, I drive by the place every day. I really appreciate what you guys have done with that building. It's really great. Yeah, I mean, it's, and it's an iconic, it plays out in the back. I guess, I was gonna ask about the fundraising, and I know you guys have done a lot of that. I don't know where you are with that. As far as what you've raised, recently, or.
So they started the restoration 3 or 4 years ago, and their original fundraising goal was $35,000. And the last count that I saw on the little thermometer that's on the side of the building, they were close to, I think it was, so they've pretty much fundraised half of the proceeds that they've needed. But as we know with projects, fundraising starts to dry up, donors become few and far between. Everybody wants to help physically, but the money is just not there. So that's where they're struggling. Everybody wants to help, everybody wants to get this together, but buying the materials to get this finished has just been impossible.
I guess my other question, Melissa, would be, how do people access the facility, or is it open to the public? I mean, could I say I want to have a, I don't know,
Well,
a Super Bowl party there? I don't know, whatever
Yeah.
the case may be.
so that's TBD because the building can't be opened until it's finished. But it is, a public historic building. So there is a trustee. There are trustees of the group. Though they'd be able to answer those questions better than I would. I'm just a lowly voting member.
This is just a random question. Who owns the property?
That is a very good question.
Yeah.
I wanna,
Thought it was.
I'm not gonna even try to guess. I have a few guesses, but I don't wanna misspeak, so.
Camera, do you?
Do you know the answer to that?
Tamara Steinhauer, 19 Hill Drive. I don't think there is an owner. It is a nonprofit, so it's held by trustees.
Thank you. That was not one of my guesses.
So two questions for me on this. One, because it is a historical building. Do you have to follow a certain process or to do projects inside and like rebuild it?
So here's the fun thing, the play on historic, it's not technically a registered historic building, it's just referenced as historic because of the age of it.
I like that. That's good. And it looks as, yeah.
Yeah.
The second, using community labor, which I'm all for, could we be potentially held liable for anything that might happen during construction?
Oh, no. No.
Just like to speak on that point, like as far as what. And correct me if I'm wrong, but we have always allocated bond funds and we've said, hey, organization has asked for them, here is the money. Like, we have never had a process to follow up and ensure that the money was spent the way that we had hoped. And I'm personally not advocating for that. This like follow up of like ensuring that you guys said, we've never done it in the past. We've never followed up with anyone we've offered funds for bond funds too. I don't think that that's in the built into the language as part from Elizabeth Vaughn. I think that if that's something that we want to consider as a council, I think that's a process change that we can implement for future to modify how the bond fund is administered, as far as the follow up. John, any questions on Emersbridge Community Association? I think you're good.
No, not at all. I'm good.
Okay, thank you.
Vice Chair?
Yes.
So, though there is nothing specific in the bond fund, and I read through it. It talks about accountability that you're talking about, Council Lindstrom. I don't think it's beyond reason that you could put a stipulation in starting this year that within all these, whatever you pass and approve, they all have to report back by like, give them a date, October first. Everybody has to report. Where we get into a problem is if we require one individual group to report back. But I think if you made it a blanket policy as the administrators of the bond fund and say, we just want everybody to come back either before or by October first to report your success, what you've done. Then we put them on the schedule, we know to reach out to them, they can come back. My only piece is to make sure that it's everybody includes, so not one individual with it.
If I may, one more.
Yeah.
Yeah, on that note, obviously, yeah, what you said, there hasn't been a follow-up or verification process, but. I don't know if that's in the legal realm of us being the fiduciary of the fund, I think is what it's called. Like, there may be some responsibilities that we have to make sure, for example, when we hand out money to this entity, that this entity has a good standing with the state and the IRS and et cetera, et cetera.
Absolutely, and I think that this is absolutely something that I think we put on a future agenda to discuss when we don't have applicants, when we want to talk about how we want to change the process and what changes we want to make and implement that language. I'm totally on board. I think we have not implemented, therefore we can't apply it to these applicants right now.
I believe we could apply legal requirements to. If we have to, if we're giving up dispersing money from fund, like, much as if you were to issue a pen, like, give a contractor money, you would request a W-9, or, and then therefore issue a 1099. Like, but in this specific example, this is a nonprofit, but I mean, it's not a process that we're implementing, it's the process that the government, the state and federal governments have already implemented.
Let's move on to the next applicant. We have Shoetown Design. We have an application from John Robertson. Is John here this evening?
He did email me today. I think he understood that I had been working with DeCarlo and some other folks on this over last year. And he cannot be here. So that's where we're at. I mean, my feeling is, this, you know, this came from an individual. I don't know if it was vetted by the recreation department, the planner, so,
I'll just
So, you know,
summarize for everyone what the application is, so the
Yeah,
public's
go
aware.
ahead, yeah.
So we have an application from a gentleman in town, John Robertson, requesting $15,000 to complete a preliminary design for an upgraded Shoetown Park and Playground, including conceptual layout, base site analysis and a process estimation, et cetera. And this is a gentleman who I think, is near Powder House and has experience with all of the activity, I guess, at Powder House. My thoughts on this one is I don't really feel like very much was provided, as far as what he is looking to accomplish. And so for the reasons of just simply not providing enough information, I am not in favor of funding this one.
Clarifying point for DeCarlo, are we not discussing Shoetown separately and differently?
Was not prepared to speak on the bond fund. I don't have anything for you, but Shoetown Park is one of the planning initiatives that we're going to do a master plan for Shoetown Park. And so that's in the works. If you all remember, I've given you a list of priority planning priorities, and Shoetown Park was on that list. But you have a limited amount of funds in your planning funds for this year, and priority is 1829, and completion of the open space plan. So you've ranked that a little bit lower down on the list, but it is one of our priorities.
Yep.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You know, there was a lot of work, by some volunteers on, you know, last year we went through a process of just trying to get input on what the park looked like, what people wanted. So, I mean, it's a project sort of near and dear to my heart, but, I think we have people working on it, and I think we need something more concrete than what we have in front of us.
John's, yeah.
Thank you. Hi, John. What you got?
So No disrespect to Carlo, but I think this is along the realms of the Adirondack chairs last year for the request. I don't see the direct benefit for the youth of the town in money spent for the design feature for this park. We're already working on it. Like Paul said, there's been a lot done to it. I don't feel this fits the parameters of the Vaughn Fund myself personally.
Anyone else have thoughts, say anything? No, okay. All right, that is Shoetown Design and Playground. The next one, we received an application for Marshwood Softball Little League. If you ladies would come up and join us, to speak to your application for $5,000 for Rollinsford Field maintenance.
Good evening. My name is Amanda and I am from the Marshwood Softball Little League. I'm here tonight to bring up, it does seem odd, I'm asking for funds that are going to Rollinsford Fields. The reason is that right now we have the ages 4 through 8 that actually are at Rollinsford Fields for games and practices, because Aggie is beautiful, but it is utilized and is actually at regulation for the 8 to 12-year-olds. So we have to split up with so many kids that we have to split up the 2 fields, and Rollinsford is the other one. Elliott is building a new field. They will be, I believe the completion of the construction is supposed to be 2027. It's construction, who knows? But as of right now, the only fields we have are Rollinsford and Aggie. So we were looking to split the cost for the upgrading. It is only the infield. The diamond itself needs to be dug down a little bit. Have the new bases put in as they're not aligned and not regulation. And then put new infield dirt in, and then we're hoping to also reuse some of the infield dirt for the parking to make it a little bit nicer, a little less puddles. And so this is actually kind of be split cost-wise with Rollinsford. We are gonna have them do more of the labor, as in we're working with the highway department, and also a father from the league owns a construction company, is willing to help us out with the cost of, bringing the equipment actually, and doing some of the work too, for free, hopefully. And so that's where again, this is really for materials and some of the maybe fuel for the construction equipment, and so that's why we're bringing it to you guys. I was also unaware that this was actually, the bond fund was for winter activities. Right now we have spring. We know that we're
Fireworks.
okay.
Not just, yeah.
I was gonna say, we've been practicing actually since the beginning of February too. We do start out beginning of February for winter clinics and then into spring. We all know that this is a fake spring and we're gonna get a snowstorm next week, but I hope that the weather stays.
Thank you. So I just want to clarify, so you said that there are funds coming from like the Rollinsford municipal budget, basically through the Public Works Department.
We're still meeting with them, but we're hoping to get the labor side of that, since it is in their town. We're trying to work with the Rollinsford Highway Department to do more of the labor. We have yet to set up a meeting with them,
Okay.
but there is communication that has gone back and forth.
Okay.
Again, if they're not, if they're unavailable, then we did have a father step up and say they're ready to help.
John.
Oh,
You're muted.
Yep. Just a little background for the rest of the council. So that deal to use the Rollinsford Field has been with the Rollinsford Cemetery Association for 25 or more years that South Berwick has played ball on that field. Actually, Strawberry Run Festival grant went to put the dugout roofs in and the chain link fence around there, I think 8 or 9 years ago. That has come out of the operating budget of the Little League in South Berwick for years to pay for the upgrades of that. Again, they've played on that field for 25 plus years, boys and girls. It is utilized all the time. Understanding it is in a neighboring community, but again, Rollinsford does go to school with us, and it is a much needed space for our girls to play softball on. That's all I want to add to that.
Thank you.
John. Council, any other questions or comments on this one?
No, just, I want to say generally, I think it meets the bill of the grant.
I'm just gonna be very honest in that upon reviewing the application earlier, I was kind of a hard no on this one, simply because it's in New Hampshire, but, I think, kind of hearing it out and, you know, my daughter played softball on that field forever, and so, it is very much a South Berwick resource, despite it being across the border. So I'm in agreement.
I agree. I mean, you know, it's hard to swallow, but we're doing a project in another state. But I can do it.
Just, clarifying question for me, what makes the field different than the ones that we have on Aggies, like, you said it's better for younger? Like-
No, so currently Aggie is at regulation. We recently have redone the field over the last couple of years. Rollinsford has not really been properly maintained. And actually, all of the bases are unaligned. The pitcher's mound is very much not centered. So in order to actually, we're hoping that we could get more play there from the older kids as well. We can switch fields a little bit better. Right now, the older kids, we're just getting the fundamentals going. So it's not as important. But if we, like last year, we actually hosted All-Stars at Aggie because our field is among the best right now in the district. Which is great, right? But we would love to kind of span that out. We could have gotten more games in, especially with all the rainouts, at Rollinsford. And again, I understand it's not our community, but it is part of the community for this league. And so we would like to just upgrade it so that way it is regulation.
All right. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
All right, last one, we received an application from Brooks and Repertory for $1,500. And myself, looking at this application, it is not, is there anyone from Brixton here? Okay. I don't know if any of the other counselors are seeing something, I am not clear on what they intend to use the money for.
That was my question.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right, so it's not this week. So I respectfully will be voting not in favor of this one, simply because I don't know what they're asking for.
Could I ask DeCarlo a question about grants available to people in the TIF district, just
Sure.
real quick? The micro grant program, is that available to businesses within the Funkin Town TIF? Or is it just downtown,
The downtown and the omnibus stuff.
which includes,
It
that's
doesn't,
just up 236?
yeah, it goes down and up the full length of 236, but it doesn't include the Pumpkin Town.
Okay. Okay, never mind, thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Any other comments or questions on the Brixton? All right, so now we can move back to Marshall softball boosters uniforms for $3,600. Since we have discussed, oh, are you here from Marshall? softball? Okay, great.
I'm so sorry.
No worries.
I'm Ashley Campbell, so, I'm representing the Marshwood Softball Boosters Program that goes across the middle school and the high school program. What you may not know about, the middle school is that uniforms are passed down from high school. There is no funding provided by the school to produce uniforms for the middle school level. It's either done through parents that have to pay for uniforms for children, like the volleyball program, or it's down through like uniforms passed down, which unfortunately sizing can vary dramatically at the middle school level, meaning that the uniforms provided at many times don't always fit the middle school girls. As some girls are still in youth sizes versus in high school, they are very much in more adult sizing. So this is so we can outfit the middle school girls to have uniforms where they can feel very proud of representing the program, as well as currently, you may not know, they're wearing soccer uniforms. So the uniforms are also used for soccer.
Can you also help me understand what other fundraising the boosters do?
Absolutely. So we have, it's not mandatory, but we do require funding for each girl that joins. So there's like a fee to play. Again, not required. So we don't collect everything. We can't require it. That funding is used to pay the stipends of assistant coaches, because what you might not know is assistant coaches for the high school level are not covered through funding as well. So that goes to covering that. We also try to do at least one fundraiser a year. Prior year, I don't think they produced one. I know they didn't at the middle school level. They did at the high school only. This year, we're looking to do some calendars and ask our middle schoolers to also participate and do calendars. The intent with that funding is to go right back to the middle school girls, because what you also might not know about middle school programs is a lot of times the funding actually goes right back to the high school programs, not the middle school programs. That's one change that I have requested, that any funding that the middle school raises goes to the middle school program versus the high school. So at this time, there was no funding that we did. I think we only collected like $75 last year from middle school.
And have you requested funds from the district for any of these?
No, so there is no funding at the district level.
Agreed, but has a request been made
To them
to add funding?
to add funding,
Yeah, for you.
they will not add funding for athletics at this time.
Okay.
I don't know if you know, but all the athletics, like even maintenance on fields, are managed by the booster programs, even at our high school level.
Anyone have any follow-up questions? Are you also here to speak about
I am.
the equipment request too? Okay,
Yeah.
go for it.
So similarly, we will be doing fundraising, and I would love to say the fundraising will cover the cost to, get the new equipment for the high school level, but similar situation, they are not granted the funding for this. They are only given the amount of money to purchase balls to play, which means that, and one thing to throw in there, last year, all their Go nets were chewed. Because they were not stored properly. And unfortunately, the school was not funding that. And so we had a wonderful, generous person that donated all bow nets so the girls could have them for this year. So what we're seeking is funding to have like the armbands and additional other pieces to help them enhance their skills so that we can become a very competitive softball team at the high school level. So like weighted balls and things like that that are not provided by the school and would have to come from funding. This time I will be fully transparent. The funding we do really only covers the assistant coaches. And we are required by the school to fund that.
Yes, so for the equipment this year, has storage been arranged?
Yes, that has been a very serious conversation.
But sorry, has it been, is it locked in and it's ready?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any other questions from the board? John, anything? Okay, you're good. All right, thank you very much for being here tonight. Yes.
Again, I'm not scheduled to speak on any of this, but I wanted to remind, any of those, in attendance who are looking for additional fundraising opportunities. We have a spring market coming up, and we are still looking for vendors, and that includes anyone who's looking to fundraise. And so above and beyond this request, if people are looking at fundraising, as I've heard tonight, please get in contact me whenever you can, so we can get you a part of that effort too. Thanks. That's May 2nd, correct? May 2nd, yes, you can.
All right, we have discussed all of them. Any final discussion from counselors, anything? We will work through each one motion at a time. I will go ahead and let me pull up the list. Number one, I will make a motion to approve the application for Marshall softball boosters for uniforms in the amount of $3,600 from the bond fund.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion on the table? We'll do a vote by roll call. John?
Aye.
Sam?
Aye.
Paul?
Aye.
Joel?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 5-0.
Oh, microphone.
Keep track. Up next, I'll make a motion to award Marshall softball boosters $2,100 for equipment from the Elizabeth Vaughn Fund.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Roll call, John?
Aye.
Sam?
Aye.
Aye.
Joel? Aye. Motion passes 5-0. All right, up next, we have Southwark Library. I'll make a motion to award the Southwark Library $2,100 for an outdoor play area from the bond fund.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. John?
Aye.
Sam?
Aye.
Paul?
Aye.
Joel?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 5-0. keeping a tally. Up next, we have Southwick Recreation. I'll make a motion to award Southwick Recreation $89,000 for a playground at Aggie Field. Do a roll call for that motion.
Second.
Thank you. Motion in a second. Any discussion?
I think, based on some concern from the public related to the proceeding process, if this motion passes, I suppose that there's some language to amend it to, may I ask the town manager if there's something related to triggering and the next step, which related to this, or should no one, if no one has an appetite for it, that's fine too.
I mean, I think I think we're looking for a process.
Yeah.
To engage the public on the actual construction of the playground, which I don't know if we've amended, approvals for the bond fund, but I would be in favor of it.
Two different things. Pass the money, but then I think the council, and rightfully so, you can work with the recreation department, like, then pass a motion beyond this that says, bring forth your ideas, let us see. My sneaky suspicion is gonna probably have to go to code and planning, to the planning board for site plan review, and if it does, then it gets a public hearing anyway.
Mhm.
So, but within that, you certainly can have the council separate of the bond fund. Then say to the rec director, great, pass this, bring your proposals, let's see what you got for ideas, we wanna workshop that idea.
Yeah, I think, what I would personally like to see done is if this motion passes, it'd be put into some fund that then the rec department would bring their funds into, and now we have a fund for this project that would be sitting there distinctly separate from everything else and be nice and clear, and then whatever process to disperse funds from that account would obviously have to come through us. But again, I guess that could be a motion outside of this meeting of the
I
trustees.
think that's more like
Okay.
a normal council business.
Okay.
thing.
Right,
Yeah.
yeah, so the procurement process and the approval process will have to go through the exact, everything else separate from the bond fund. So it'll be exactly that from the beginning. Her saying what it is, so forth, bringing it forward, and then to DeCarlo, to the new code officer, and so forth and so on. So you folks will have input, I believe. In.
Sure, I just wanna make sure that, again, you obviously have heard my concerns about funds, and I wanna make sure this goes into the right bucket. That we're moving money from the other right bucket into this bucket, and we can now start tracking from day zero project. So there's no one.
Okay.
I mean, my only other comment would be again, I think you know this, Vicky, but to pursue other grant funding, other sources of funding that we may have available. Because this is gonna bring us above and beyond what we've done before, I guess, at this spot, so. I don't know what opportunities are out there, but I know you guys are always looking for those, so anyway.
The Schumacher Institute still giving money?
I'll give you $10,
All right, we have a motion on the table to award the Southbrook Recreation Department $89,000 for a playground at Aggie Field. Is there any other discussion?
Second.
Oh, no, there's a motion on the table, sorry, I'm just repeating it. The motion on the table, we'll go take a roll call vote. John,
Nope.
Sam,
Aye.
Paul,
I,
Joel.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 4-1. All right, so, next we have, number 5, the Emery's Bridge Community Improvement Association. I'll make a motion to award the Emery's Bridge Community Improvement Association $17,485 from the bond fund.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? John,
Aye.
Sam,
Aye.
Paul,
I,
Joel.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes 5-0. Up next, we have number 6, Shoetown Design Playground, from John Robertson. I will go ahead and make a motion, to award $15,000 from the bond fund to John Robertson for a Shoetown Playground redesign.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion on this?
I'm sorry, so.
I made a motion in the affirmative to award the funds for this one, so in the event that the council does not want to award it, I would suggest voting no. John,
No.
Sam,
No.
Paul,
No.
Joel,
No,
no, motion fails, 0-5. Next we have number 7, Marshwood softball, Rollinsford Field Management. I'll make a motion to award the Marshwood Softball Little League $5,000 to upgrade the Rollinsford softball field from the Elizabeth Bond Fund.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. John?
Yes.
Sam?
Aye.
Paul?
I,
Joel?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed 5-0. And last we have Brixton Repertory. I'll make a motion in the affirmative to award Brixton Repertory $1,500 from the Elizabeth Bond Fund.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor of the motion say aye. John?
No. You froze. No.
Oh, sorry.
No.
no,
no.
No, motion does not pass 0-5. That concludes our bond fund trustee meeting. It is 7:16 PM, and I'll make a motion to close our bond fund trustee meeting. Can I have a second?
Sorry.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. John?
Aye.
Sam?
Aye.
Paul?
I,
Joel?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 5-0. Thank you all for your patience. We can now commence our regular public town council meeting.
Madam Chair, may I suggest a 5-minute recess?
Absolutely. Thank you. Remind me, do I need a motion?
Yep.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to take a 5-minute recess.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor? John?
Aye.
Sam?
Aye.
Joel?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 4-0 with 1 abstention.
Right, so John, here's camera.
I didn't abstain.
Good call, Sam. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And.
Get things ready.
That's fair.
We're gonna get chatty.
He's like, I'm learning something.
I moved south, I didn't know it was gonna be this warm.
Pass.
You can take your jacket off.
We turned the blower and everything on like an hour and a half before.
It was so hot. Second floor today.
It is, but I'm not mad.
That's not fair.
It's not mad.
So bad.
Wait, right down.
As we're down.
Wait, give this up. Oh, there. We're just baking
I
today.
have one question about the many different playgrounds. The one that is
And
like.
In March.
I had the biggest on, it felt a little bit better.
Yes,
No.
but I can't, I don't know how to describe to you where it is. written.
Well,
But
okay, I know she got up and left before we
Yeah.
could grab her, and I was like, oh, because is that cutting into the soft field portion?
No.
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 No, we go on the other
Because
side.
soccer field,
Before
oh,
the board, like the building board has the rainbow on it in front of the parking lot where the building was.
so it's everything.
I know that you guys, I know where the, so I know where
Alright,
the
we're not doing it
baseball.
You're looking at the field.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay,
Right before the something here parking lot, right
Yeah.
down the hill.
okay, all right, because we were wondering if it was gonna go on the other end.
I know.
Softball,
I
but
also-
we were like.
I was also curious too, and I was like, which one? Is it going to the?
It's, you know what the red bar is taking that.
Well, yeah, so that's what it's like, that's really clear, okay, as long as it's not cutting into this.
That was a flat spot, where you really rectangular, like so we can tell.
We did get a lot of, like, from police officers, we get where, when we did the all stars and how many people were there, but the staff and stuff, and our videos.
Alright, but remind me, what's your name?
Amanda.
Amanda, which one?
Yeah.
Amanda, right? It's very.
Nice to meet you. I'm actually ready to meet you.
Oh, that's
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's, again, I totally understand too, and that's why I'm like, talk about this, yeah. But it is all three towns, and every town is now putting in effort, yeah. Yeah, but thank you very much for bringing.
Yeah, thank you.
I will just come up.
Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Yeah, where are we?
See you.
We're not.
Oh. No, I'll do that, okay.
I think that.
I don't lose so.
Very good. I was speculating on one.
Would be great for the weeks.
Last words.
So they, that's what it used to be, as a good place for the Girl Scouts, it is. Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I. Yes. So it would be. No, we're rescheduling this. We're good.
I don't think anybody expected it to be this morning.
Respectfully, Joel, can I ask you to come back so we can keep going? Thank you. Sorry. Thank you. All right, I think that was maybe not exactly 5 minutes, but we have the full council back. We can go ahead and go resume our meeting. I'll make a motion to resume our town council meeting March 10th, 2026. Can I get a second?
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. John?
Aye.
Sam?
Aye.
Paul?
Aye.
Joel?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed 5-0. We are back in session. Thank you everyone for your patience. Write it down. Okay. All right. Our first order of business this evening is public comment. Before I ask if anyone has any public comment they'd like to state or like to read off, I just want to acknowledge there's a number of emails that unfortunately were not brought to the attention at our last council meeting that I wasn't at. So just fellow counselors, the responsibility of all of us to ensure that public comment gets brought forward. We received an email from Melissa Costella. I mentioned this earlier. She had comments about our bond fund allocation request, specifically the playground. We received a comment from several people regarding our upcoming recall ordinance workshop on a recall ordinance. So we received comments from Maya Srinivasan at Agamenticus, Scott Landis on Academy Street, and John Klostner on Highland Ave, all three expressing concerns about a potential recall ordinance. We received an email from Richard Crowley regarding tax rates and how they compare to neighboring town. We received an email from David McDermott on Benelot Road, notifying us of an annual Tuskegee Day in June. That's an annual event that typically happens in our community. We'll have a crew from Tuskegee coming up. David McDermott also emailed us regarding his concerns about a potential recall ordinance. And I think you guys did cover this one at the last meeting. Brittany Reed Martin reached out regarding snow removal. I think discussion did happen on that. And then we received an email from Alicia De Los Reyes regarding meeting disruption with her feedback on how the meeting on February 10th was conducted from Bittersweet Lane. Is there anyone in the room that would like to speak about anything not on the agenda? Come up.
Tamara Steinhauer, 19 Hill Drive. As you are all going through the budget process for next year, is there any way at the end of next year you could present, as part of the town budget meeting, the cost of attorney's fees per department or per town committee? Just something to consider.
Thank you. Is there anyone else in the room? Okay, anyone on the phone who would like to speak about anything not on the agenda? Right, we will go ahead and close public comment. I'm gonna go ahead and make a motion right now to move agenda item new business 26-27 code enforcement officer appointment up in the agenda and take up that action right now. Second. Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. John?
Aye.
Ann?
Aye.
Paul?
Aye.
Joel?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 5-0. We are very excited to introduce our new code enforcement officer. I think Tim will go ahead and introduce him, and I think our new code enforcement officer is from Portland, correct? In and around, so we're just like looking to get him home earlier. So Tim, if you would go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Vice Chair. We, upon the resignation of the previous code officer, we put up the ad out for a certified code officer preferred. First, we had 8 applicants. We reviewed the applicants. We picked the top 3 that were certified, that had the most experience. They were put to a panel. The panel was the assistant town manager, the assessor, the planning and economic community developer, and 2 councils, Paul Schumacher and Councilor Chairman James. They did the first round of interviews, scored them. Once they had all their scores tallied, they presented top 2 positions to me. I then, along with Jen and myself, we did a second round of interviews, and pleased to announce that I've selected Alan Plummer as the next code officer. Alan comes to us from Poland. He currently works in Durham, Maine and Wales, part-time. He's been a code officer for over almost 10 years now. He is certified as both a plumbing inspector, he's certified in shoreline zoning, floodplain management, and all the 10 of the code requirements. It was a very good interview. We're very excited to have him. We talked a lot about everything from violations and penalties to negotiations and working with the clients and the customers, customer service. How can we help as opposed to just saying no, and working with customers and to understand the codes and so. He had a great, what I really liked when I interviewed him was how he brought the town of Durham up electronically so they could get permits online. How you could cross-reference and verify stuff with assessing. The technology aspect that Alan, he's just so you know, Alan's a United States veteran. Thank you for your service. He was also a school teacher for many years and decided to venture off into code enforcement on his own. God bless him. But I think we're gonna be very lucky to have him as a code officer, and you know, I'll let Paul and John and Jen, certainly they can speak to what they saw during the interviews.
No, I'm really glad to have him here. I mean, I've seen a number of code officers in my day, and I'm excited to have you on board. So thanks.
John, you got anything you want to add?
Yeah, can you hear me okay?
Yep.
It was an interesting set of interviews. We had some great qualified applicants. Alan did something I haven't seen anybody else do in an interview in a while. He turned a question back on us. It was really impressive how he threw the situation back at us and made us go, huh? So I think he's going to be great for the town. Again, he's got a lot of background that's going to help us, especially in shoreline zoning and floodplains. So I'm very happy to have him in the town, and I think we did a good job getting him.
Thank you, John.
I'd like to ask Alan to come up to the podium and introduce himself to the council and to the town.
Hello, I'm Alan Plummer, and I was formerly a teacher, so I'd love to talk. I was thinking maybe I'm not gonna let you talk. I appreciate you letting me talk. So I did grow up all my life in Maine, and was born in Augusta, lived in Whitefield. I'll tell you where that is sometime. I actually live in 2 places, Litchfield and Portland, so I have a house in Litchfield, which I've moved to Portland recently for this job, and that's kind of exciting. I did spend all my life. Oops, sorry. I did spend all my life in Maine, except for 6 years when I served in the military, which I'm quite proud of. No thanks required. I taught school for 14 years. I don't like speaking in public in this venue so much. Teaching was a lot easier. And recently have been a code officer for a number of years for several towns, Mechanic Falls, Durham, and Wales. I will continue to work in Wales on Fridays, just in the morning. I like voluntary compliance. That's what I like. I would seek that in every instance. But I'm not afraid to use my combat training if they don't comply. Just kidding. But it's been pretty interesting. I did serve some time at the State House as the doorkeeper for the Maine State Senate. That gave me a lot to process with decorum and how things should work. So I'm pretty adept at that. But really excited to be in South Berwick. I came here probably 10 years ago, ate in the cafe downtown, thought, wow, I saw that ad in the newspaper and said, that'd be a good place. So then coming here and learning more about the town, it's a little bit more government oriented. It's a little bit more structured than the towns I've worked at. So that's kind of what I was looking for, and I'm excited. Any questions?
No, just thank you so much for being here. We're looking forward to having you on our staff.
Thanks so much.
Yeah, anyone else?
My one question is, what software platform, were you working with or are familiar with?
It sounds impressive. It is all manual, but so in Durham, they can get all their applications online and fill them out online. They do have to print them and either send them back to me via email or bring them into the office. I also started up working with payments over the telephone. Before I got there, they didn't accept payments with credit card over the telephone. Now they can pay online and they can do payments on the telephone. Like every other town in Maine. So it was it. It's all manual software. It's nothing specific to code enforcement. I've seen some aspects of that software, nothing that I want to use, but there are some platforms out there that I'm very happy to look at down the road if that's what you want me to do. But, yeah.
Well, Alan, thank you so much for coming.
Thanks.
I will go ahead and make a motion to confirm the appointment of Alan Plummer as our code enforcement officer here in South Berwick.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor, say aye. John?
Aye.
Sam?
Aye.
Paul?
Aye.
Joel?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 5-0. Thank you, Alan.
Great.
Congratulations.
Did you get your card?
What's that?
Did you get your card in the mail?
Oh, I haven't yet.
Personal.
It's in his mailbox.
Okay, good.
It's all right.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Alan.
Drive safe.
Welcome aboard.
Thanks.
All right, so that leaves us at town manager's report.
The highway department, they've been doing storm management and Jerry reports the winter is not over yet, so don't think it is.
If anyone,
Really?
if anyone is like the best predictor, it's Jim.
Absolutely.
He knows when he takes the files off. Police department had 3 arrests, 11 accidents, 175 traffic stops, the most in the county the last 2 weeks. The administrative assistant and the deputy chief attended the first class with the new Flex RMS dispatch software program. That's a new dispatch system that they're putting in at Sanford for thousands of dollars for the police department, not just for us, but the whole county. Fire department had 12 calls in the last 2 weeks, 77 year to date. Chief attended a workshop on power grid resilience and storm response at York County EMA. It's true that our power outages in York County have been on the rise, and CMP has plans to restore times and minimize outages. Code enforcement officer. New code enforcement officer Alan Plummer to start on 3/23. Shelley Bishop, the code officer from Elliott, will be helping out in the meantime, filling in. There's no report from planning and economic development. Transfer station, things are running smoothly. I was over there on Saturday. Again, the traffic flow pattern seems to be much smoother, much safer, and people are following the rules.
At the library, they have launched their community seed swap program. So stop in and pick up some flowers or vegetable seeds for your garden. The library is putting together a strategic plan and is asking for the community's input. You can go online on the library's website, or you can go in person to the library or the clerk's office and fill out the form. Recreation, Powder House is happy to report they have sold roughly 3,500 tickets this season, which is a best. They are also starting a 3-week wellness series at the community center, which will begin on March 19th, and it will begin with brain health. The seniors tomorrow on the 11th will have a beef stew luncheon, and they will have the Southern New England ukulele group there as entertainment. The assessing department has started their permit pass. So Brittany, the admin, will be frequently out of the office for the next 2 months. Folks can call the office, email, take a business card, they'll happily get back to you as soon as they can. The deadline for filing abatements has now passed. We had a total of 55 abatements, 38 have been approved, 6 were denied, and 11 are in process, which is roughly 1% of the town after our full reevaluation. In the clerk's office in the last 2 weeks, they have done 245 motor vehicle transactions, 9 vital records, and 10 notarial acts. In finance, HR, and safety, we've been working on the budget preparation. I have finished the month-end reporting, we're looking at their reports today, and we are posting lots and lots of tax payments. As a reminder, the tax bills are due March 31st. And as always, many, many meetings.
And then for administration, August and budget meeting. Website discussion, our contract of the, with, revised up this year, so we need to start looking at new websites and, you know, based on the stuff council's given us for information and feedback, we know we need to, and we've already looked at it, we know it's outdated, it needs to be severely upgraded and redone. Several meetings with Kyle on planning. The owner's renovation meeting, dovetail for the town building. Code office discussion. We had second interview, code officer position. I met with the citizen Mark Zimmer in reference to some issues in town. Met with the transfer station director in reference to some future coming needs. We met on the electrical boxes for town hall renovation. Will we get a firm out of that? Was there something that came out of that, or was it just a?
No, it was the, it was a coordination meeting prior to subcontractors' proposal, after which we will hold another coordination meeting.
Okay. Then another meeting today, reference to the new website. That's all I have, thank you.
Okay. Moving on to approval of several sets of minutes. First, we have our town council meeting minutes from February 24th, 2026. I'll make a motion to adopt the meeting minutes from February 24th, 2026 as written.
Second.
Thank you. A motion and a second. Any discussion? I will be abstaining from this because I was not present. All those in favor? John?
Aye.
Sam?
Aye.
Paul?
Aye.
Joel?
Aye.
And I abstain. Motion passes 4-0 with 1 abstention. Next, we have the Board of Assessors meeting, also from February 24th, 2026. I'll make a motion to adopt the Board of Assessors meeting for minutes from February 24th, 2026 as written.
Second.
Thank you. Motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. John?
Aye.
Sam?
Aye.
Paul?
Aye.
Joel?
Aye.
And I abstain. Motion passes motion passes 4-0 with 1 abstention. Next, we have also from February 24th, 2026, a public hearing. I'll make a motion to adopt the public hearing minutes for the downtown revitalization plan on landing trail from February 24th, 2026 as written.
Second.
Thank you. Your motion and second. Any discussion? All those in favor, say aye. John?
Aye.
Sam?
Aye.
Paul?
Aye.
Joel?
Aye.
I abstain. Motion passes 4-0 with 1 abstention. And last, we have our workshop minutes for March 3rd, 2026. I'll make a motion to adopt the workshop, our budget workshop meeting minutes for March 3rd, 2026 is written.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Discussion. All those in favor, say aye. John?
Aye.
Sam?
Aye.
Paul?
Aye.
Joel?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed 5-0. All right, next we have the treasurer's warrant. I'll go ahead and make a motion to sign the treasurer's warrant in the amount of $1,269,058.74 dated March 4th, 2026.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Anyone have any discussion?
The past couple have had some Bernstein Assured Sawyer and Nelson on them, and I know there are prior attorneys. I was just wondering if there was any information on what they're still billing against.
So we have one case in the Maine Supreme Court. Which they're doing that, and we have one case that's still been pending for 6 years. And it's a land use case, violation case. And so they're billing us for those two. Was there anything else? Yes, maybe one other.
Yeah, TIF
Oh, and the TIF.
amendment.
TIF amendment because Drummond Woodson, the person who does it, is out for 3 months. Right. But the big expense is the case at the Maine Supreme Court.
That's pertaining to a planning board application on
Sandville Estates.
Sample Estates. Okay.
Do we have any idea when that meet?
So the court met and heard the arguments last 2 weeks ago. And you'll have to quote me on the terminology, but there's a direct resolve that they can do, which they write to resolve in about a month, or they do a bench vote. That takes about 2 months, and the attorneys did not know which way it was gonna go. This is over a sign at Sandville Estates. Yep. That's all, it's, there it is. They've made their motion, but we have to wait to see what they come up.
Any other discussion on the warrant?
No.
Yep. All right, all those in favor of sending the treasurer's warrant, say aye. John?
Aye.
Sam?
Aye.
Joel?
Aye.
Aye, motion passes 5-0. We don't have any reports and presentations, correct?
Correct.
Great. Up next, unfinished business, 26-20, community art committee application.
Madam Chair.
Yeah.
Sorry, can I go back to, Council Flintstrom's questions?
Sure.
Just for a second on so when, Bertinger called me and had said, this is now in the hands of the Supreme Court go by. I called Ben from Drummond Woods, I asked Ben, I said, we still have another pending outstanding case, we're waiting for a court date sometime this summer. Would it be more beneficial to transfer that to you? And Ben didn't want to, he said it's gonna would cost way too much money. Us to get up to speed on that court case, and then he said he might as well just let it finish itself out, then. So I did check with Ben to find out.
Yeah, no, I don't have an opposition to it staying in the same attorney firm whatsoever. It was just, $5,800 and I knew the last one also had some, so it seemed like there was active work, so to speak, and sounds like there is.
Yeah, I just wanted to let you know, I did follow up with Ben to see the best route. Ben said, no, leave it there and let him take care of it. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, unfinished business 26-20, community art committee application. We received an application from Lori Melanson, and we are looking to schedule an interview with her to join the community art committee. Suggestion is to interview her ahead of our next council meeting at 5:45. So I will go ahead and make a motion to schedule an interview with Lori Melanson on March 24th, 2026 at 5:45 p.m. here on the 3rd floor for Lori Melanson for her application for the community art committee.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. John?
Aye.
Sam?
Aye.
Paul?
Aye.
Joel?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 5-0. May I make a request with this interview? Can the staff send the council like meeting invites when we schedule these interviews? Just because we don't consistently have them, and that helps us remember that we need to be here at 5:45, because it's usually not on the agenda. Or no, it is on the agenda, but that would just be helpful. We could receive meeting invites for these interviews.
Just a question, have we had any other applications for this? For the community art? Position or?
Not that I've heard.
Kim, have you seen any other applications from them?
That was the only one.
I think are you out on it now, right?
The community art committee?
Yeah.
No, I mean, I just was part of like forming it, but no, I'm not on it.
I wonder, I know we continually are trying to get committee
Yes,
members.
yes. So I
I
guess shameless plug.
think we need to do it again.
So shameless plug for everyone here, we're still seeking applicants for community art committee as well as many other boards, specifically board of assessment review. I know it's one that we are still seeking a forum on.
And I think we have a comp plan. Comp plan committee openings.
Yeah.
Right. Open.
All right, anything else on the committee topic? All right, moving on to 26-23, public hearing for Pumpkin Town tip amendment. This is the item that I had noted earlier, we needed to reschedule. Due to, we had just an issue with the local, newspaper not having adequate room for our ad apparently. So we're seeking to reschedule this public hearing. I will go ahead and make a motion to reschedule the public hearing for the Pumpkin Town tip amendment for April 28th, 2026 at Town Hall, 3rd floor, 6 p.m.
Second,
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
I have one comment. I think I've noticed in the AP warrants that we advertise in, I think it's Portsmouth Herald. Have we looked into the Sentinel since it gets delivered to every resident here?
The same, yeah.
So
It's the
it
same group,
It is.
because
So Sentinel is not the same group, but they're recently last year, they switched to the same schedule. And so what we're looking at is the posting schedule to get in time for the legal requirements. They all moved them way up. And so we actually try to get on whichever one that we can the soonest, so we can do our advertising. But yeah, we've looked into Sentinel as well. Yeah.
Right, yeah, my comment there would be obviously that for free, every resident gets it.
Who's cheaper?
Yeah.
Is the Sentinel cheaper than the Herald? No, same.
Just out of curiosity, why are we pushing this out 6 weeks or so? Not that I'm not pushing back on it, I'm just curious.
Sure, because
You gotta talk right in the book.
sure, absolutely. So if you voted today to have it at your next meeting, you still would not make the advertising date. So you have to move it out.
Thank you. Okay, did we vote?
Yeah, it's a set, yeah.
Okay, we have a motion on the table to schedule a public hearing for April 28th, at 6 p.m. All those in favor say aye. Done.
Aye.
Yeah.
Aye.
Joel.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes 5-0. Next we have, unfinished business number 25-103, an RFP for Railroad Ave. So. Page 89, if anyone looking. I think. So the council had asked DeCarlo, a number of weeks ago, to create an RFP for the Railroad Avenue project Brownfield project that we have going on. So we have included in our, council docs for this evening, an RFP, DeCarlo, is there anything you wanna speak to or? speak up for us?
Sure, so this is the, again, this is the 9 Railroad Avenue property, that was acquired through tax foreclosure. What this allows you to do, I asked for a direction on what would you like to do with the property, what are your goals, and what came out very clearly was some type of affordable housing, some type of mixed use. What this allows you to do is to get partners in to see if they're going to be a correct partner to develop that property for affordable housing and some type of mixed use for services type of deal. This provides a maximum flexibility for yourselves on basically the structure of how to do that, and for the actual deal that would need to be made in order for the funding to go through. So this is a couple moving parts, and this is how you can do an RFP to get the correct partner in developing that property on the long term. I would say that this would be a long-term or longer-term project because it's a brownfield project. So it's more about selecting the correct partner. I would say that this is the RFP process. After the RFP process, after you choose a partner, would then be the contracting process. And so it's during that process that you can do clawbacks of, hey, if you don't develop this within 10 years, the property returns to the property of the town, and et cetera, et cetera. This just sets up that format in order to see who would be the correct partner in order to develop it to meet your goals. With that, this is very similar to some other towns have used the same structure, we have before you. If you have any questions, I'm here.
So the action on the table this evening, this is just a procedural question. You're looking for council approval on the RFP so that we can then post it and start to collect applications. And I see that, where did I see it? There's a mandatory pre-proposal meeting for anybody applying on April 14th, but I think it's awesome. I like that idea. When is like the due date?
So-
May 5th.
Yeah, so the due date is I believe is May 5th on that one.
Okay, so the site walk is to orient the
Correct.
potential applicants to the.
Yes, correct.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you. Anyone have questions or comments for DeCarlo on the RFP? All in for reading.
No, it's great, Carla, thank you. I think there's the date, I think Thursday. Yeah, Thursday the 14th, it should be. The 14th is a Tuesday,
Oh, sorry about that.
that's quite all right. Just wanted everybody to know I read the proposal. There you go.
So it's actually 14th, but it's really Tuesday.
Yeah.
So anyway, but no, I think this is great. I mean, I mean, this is just the first step and what's gonna be a long process. I mean, I think we need to gauge interest and see if there is interest and, you know, what the possibilities are. And this is the way we gotta go. So, thanks.
Anyone have any other questions or comments for DeCarlo? All right, I will go ahead and make a motion to approve the RFP for Railroad Avenue as presented.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion?
Do we need to correct that date or is that clerical that you just put that
Good question.
clerical?
All right, we have a motion on the table. All those in favor say aye. John?
Aye.
Sam?
Aye.
Joel?
Aye.
Aye, motion passes 5-0. Moving on to 25-108 downtown revitalization amendment. Page 104. So we held a public hearing for this amendment specifically on February 24th. This is pertaining to, just because I wasn't here on the 24th, this is the revision to our downtown revitalization plan to include the path at the county house so that we can.
Correct,
Yeah.
and there is a restriction for structures within 100 feet of the resource protection, the actual resource. But there is an exemption in state law that if you have it as part of a downtown revitalization plan, then you can then adopt an exemption and you can have a structure there. The structure in question is a cantilever trail that goes by the sewer district. And so if you choose to adopt the next step for us would be then going through the adoption process to make the exemption in our shoreland regulations. With that, the shoreland then technically can exist as envisioned. But we would need this first step in order to go to step 2.
Thank you. Are there any questions for DeCarlo on this stuff?
So Carl, yeah, so the exemption does not exempt us from that shoreline requirement. We need to amend our shoreline zoning.
Correct, yes.
And is that, how involved is that?
It's not very involved and just adds the exemption to that portion of the shoreline ordinance. And then it would go to the state that that's an exemption and then check our downtown revitalization plan to make sure the plan is in there. Good to go.
Okay. Any other questions, comments? Okay. I'll go ahead and make a motion to approve the amendment of the downtown revitalization plan as presented. In order to allow the development of landing trail counties.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All those in favor of motion say aye. John?
Aye.
Sam?
Aye.
Paul?
Aye.
Joel?
Aye.
Aye, motion passes 5-0. Next we have 25-099, town hall renovation, controlled inspection. This is on page 109 of our packet. I'm gonna ask Tim and Sam to kind of give the scoop on this one, because I wasn't as involved in these conversations because I was away. But we essentially need to approve some additional money, control protections for the town hall project.
So, our owner's representative, Dovetail Consulting, took the lead on this. In the specifications of the project, there exists certain requirements related to third-party inspections. Items such as concrete testing, compaction testing. Those are actually the main two I can think of right now that this is actually for. They were excluded from Charter Brothers Construction's contract, therefore they existed out there and needed the need needed to be filled. And that aligned with the intention of the $750,000 owner contingency that was voted on by the town. Dovetail went out and got 2 proposals for the work, as noted in the information sheet. One came in significantly higher than the other. They've worked with both of these vendors and ultimately recommended the lower price contractor, which was SW Cole. Their SW Cole's proposal is an estimate. They will bill based on their site visits and essentially a time and material basis. They estimated 12 visits throughout the project, totaling $6,499. Dovetail advised that we carry or allocate 8,000 in case there's anything that's unanticipated. So the move here is then to approve $8,000 of the original $750,000 owner contingency for use for controlled inspections to be performed by SW Cole.
Thank you. Does anyone have any questions or comments on this? Okay. So I think a motion is I'll make a motion to approve up to $8,000 to be used to cover controlled inspections to be completed by SW Cole and to be paid out of our $750,000 owner's contingency.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion?
Do we need to authorize the town manager to sign this contract?
Probably will do that in a second, another motion.
Okay.
So let's wrap up this motion, allocate the money. So John, are you in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Sam?
Aye.
Paul?
Aye.
Joel?
Aye.
I vote aye as well. Motion passes 5-0. I will also make a motion to authorize the town manager to sign the contract with SW Cole for the $8,000 to cover controlled inspection.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye. John?
Aye.
Sam?
Aye.
Paul?
Aye.
Joel?
Aye.
Aye, motion passes 5-0. All right, moving on to new business, 26-24, York County Budget Committee caucuses. That's on page 124. Every year, the York County caucuses elect municipal officials to attend the York County Budget Committee. It's scheduled Wednesday, April 8th, and they're often looking for representatives from other municipalities in York County to participate in these. I think what I understand is like this is kind of an open call. If any of us would like to be part of this board, we are part of which one are we? District 1, and there are 2 open seats on this budget committee for District 1, which is included. So if there's anyone on the council who would be interested in that, let us know. Not a requirement. So this is just informational only, right? Unless anyone is chomping at the bit to do this, then we would motion.
Do you know what municipality Thomas Small is from? The one person on District 1 committee, just mentioned.
No idea. One of those ones.
I don't know how we're in the Parsonsville, but oddly shaped district.
Yeah. Does anyone want to attend this and are able to? Okay. All right. No action needed on item 26-24. Moving on to new business number 26-25. We have a cannabis licensing application from Grove Cannabis. And that packet begins on page 133. And this is a renewal.
Yes,
It's a renewal.
the vote renewals. Yep.
Hi.
Yeah.
Can you just, would you just introduce yourself real quick?
Yep, all down, Dalrymple, co-owner of Grove Cannabis.
Thank you. So just as a reminder for the council, a number of years ago, we adopted an ordinance here in town, an administrative ordinance to require all cannabis licensing to come before the council for initial issuance as well as renewal. And so Dalton?
Yep.
Right, Dalton is here this evening because he's seeking a renewal for his local business. And seems like there are no issues or any concerns from PD, from fire chief. Does anyone have any questions or anything else? Or any questions for Dalton?
Thanks for coming.
No? Okay, I will go ahead and make a motion to approve the renewal of a cannabis retail store license for Grow Cannabis Company located at 297 Main Street.
Awesome, thank you.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Thank you.
Give you a public hearing.
Oh,
It is-
oh, sorry, I missed that, my bad. So let me repeat myself, let me start over. Everything that I said is true, but what I missed is that we also have a responsibility to hold a public hearing before we can issue your license renewal. I apologize, I was confused about the process. So actually, this is the motion that we'll have a motion on the table, so we need to go through that and vote it down, and then we'll start over. So, motion on.
We just dissolve the motion.
Okay, motion dissolved. Instead, I'm going to make a motion to schedule a public hearing for March 24th here at Town Hall on the 3rd floor at 6 p.m. for the license renewal for Grove Cannabis Company. Sure. Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Could we, just looking at Dalton's face, could we describe what that would be?
Yes, absolutely.
Like, why couldn't it just be like take care of that or?
As I stated earlier, the council went through a process a couple of years ago where we modified how we issue our cannabis licenses to require this additional step, and I just forgot about it and speaking about it. So the next step is that this public hearing will happen. Just speaking from past experience, there's usually not very many people who come and have anything to say about this. I can't guarantee that, but it's just an opportunity. If anyone in the community for some reason has any concerns or anything, or is very supportive of your business in either case, they are welcome to come and speak to that. And then that same evening afterward, the council will take up your official license renewal and take up the action then.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay.
It'll only be, it's just 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you for. Okay, so we have a public hearing scheduled for Grove Cannabis Company on the 24th. And that resolves our business for 26-25. We have a similar item.
Did we?
Oh,
We need to vote.
yeah, thank you guys. Okay, we have a motion on the table though. So we can vote on it. John?
Aye.
Sam?
Aye.
Paul? Aye. Motion passes 5-0. It takes a village to run the meetings. Thank you for your help.
Huh? I think I did, yeah.
Okay. Okay, moving on to 26-26, another cannabis licensing application. This is on page 180 of our packet. This is also a renewal, so we'll need to go through the same that we did for Grove Cannabis. This, however, is Kabursky Industries. I just want to call out that our information sheet for this just has a typo on it, where it's still listing Grove Cannabis Company. Is anyone here from Kabursky Industries? Would you like to come up and just introduce yourself, and if you have any questions about the process?
Hi, I'm Eric Kabursky, the owner of Hidden Greens. I don't have any questions.
Okay, great. So the action that we'll take this evening is to schedule a public hearing, much like we just did for Go Cannabis.
Yep.
We'll have scheduled a public hearing shortly after the other one on the same day. And then we'll take up the license renewal on the 24th.
Perfect.
So the motion on the table, I'll make a motion to schedule a public hearing for Kabursky Industries for a retail store license renewal to be held here at Town Hall on March 24th on the 3rd floor at following the previous public hearing. Can we publish it that way?
Yeah.
Okay,
Just, yeah.
after the previous public hearing, okay. Can I get a second?
Second.
We have a motion on the table to schedule the public hearing for Kabursky Industries on March 24th, also to follow the previous public hearing. Any other discussion, questions? All those in favor of the motion say aye. John?
Aye.
Ann?
Aye.
Paul?
Aye.
Joel?
Aye.
Aye, motion passes 5-0.
Thank you.
Thank you both for your patience. Thanks for being here this evening.
And
Yes.
remind them they should be here for the public hearing.
Yeah, I would suggest, if it would be wise for you to attend the public hearing for your business on the 24th if you're able to.
Yep, and that's at like 6 P.M.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same time, 2 weeks from now. Thank you. All right, we have already taken care of 26-27 code enforcement officer appointment, so we're moving on to 26-28. The Northeastern University Master Collaboration Agreement, and this is on page 242. So as requested by the council, the written agreement with Northeastern University has been reviewed by our town attorney. And this is an action that the council had taken a couple of meetings ago to kind of approve the engagement in this program per DeCarlo's recommendation. And sounds like the town attorney has reviewed that agreement and doesn't have any concerns, I'm assuming. Great. So the action tonight is for the town manager to sign the agreement with Northeastern. That's the action for us to take it tonight. Anyone have any questions on what we're doing? All right, I will make a motion to allow the town manager to sign the agreement with Northeastern University. And this will be used, this will be funded from the downtown transit TIF from per the FY20 budget.
Sorry.
Okay, great. So we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye. John?
Aye.
Sam?
Aye.
Paul?
Aye.
Joel?
Aye.
Aye, motion passes 5-0. And our last last order of business this evening is setting a public hearing for our FY27 budget. It's on page 255 of our packet. So we need to schedule a public hearing for our FY27 budget, and the proposed date is Tuesday, April 14th, at 6 p.m. here at Town Hall on the 3rd floor. For context for the council, part of why we need to ensure we are kind of hitting these milestones and scheduling public hearing for certain dates is because there's a printing lead time required for the warrant and preparation, and so we do kind of need to keep ourselves to a schedule with the budget. But all things budget, so this is just one of the milestones that we hit, so I will go ahead and make a motion to schedule a public hearing for the FY27 budget on Tuesday, April 14th, 2026 at 6 p.m. here at Town Hall on the 3rd floor.
Second.
Thank you. I have a motion and a second. Anyone have questions? Okay. We can go ahead and vote. John?
Aye.
Sam?
Aye.
Paul?
Aye.
Joel?
Aye.
Aye, motion passes 5-0. Just on the topic of budget, just a reminder for the council as well as for the public, we have a budget workshop this coming Thursday at 6 p.m. We also have a budget workshop next Tuesday at 6 p.m. We also have a budget workshop next Thursday, also at 6 p.m. It is important for the council to understand that we have a responsibility at our next meeting on March 24th and to start to hit all of these milestones that we need to have a completed, finalized, everyone agrees budget by the 24th, which kind of requires us to be pretty nailed down in our budget next Tuesday. So just managing expectations for the council, the goal is by end of next Tuesday, we can have pretty finalized numbers. If there's concern from anybody that that's not gonna be enough time after Thursday, please raise the alarm and we can try to schedule some additional time.
Did you say next Tuesday or we won't even finish the reviews of the budgets by next Tuesday?
In order to get everything printed and ready to go for the council meeting on the 24th. Because we meet on Thursday,
Right,
our
but
workshop on Thursday is in the evening.
yeah, but then you just listed 2 other budget sessions. When were the other budget sessions?
So I think in our last meeting, we like laid it out, our goal is that this Thursday, and next Tuesday, we will have all the presentations.
So just to talk specific dates, so we're meeting again on the 12th this week to talk budget. We're meeting next week on the 17th to talk budget. We have also allocated some time on the 19th to talk budget. But I think what's important to note is that we need to have pretty finalized numbers by next Tuesday in order to meet the deadline to have documents published for our council meeting on the 24th. So for that, so does that make sense?
Yeah.
And so then that does leave open for us, just the 19th, we did schedule a budget workshop, so that to me is a great opportunity if the council has suggestions on how to change the budget process I think that's a great opportunity for us to have a work session about budget process after we finalize this year's budget. That's my thought. I figure we can decide how we want to do that at our next workshop. Because we have a budget workshop scheduled that day regardless.
So what are we hearing Thursday, budget wise? What departments are we doing?
This Thursday coming?
Yeah.
You're gonna hear from the police department and from the, communication specialist that we're asking. And that should wrap everything up unless,
Then we'll go through the rest of the departments.
yeah, then we'll go through. If there was nothing else there that's. Yeah, maybe it'll be like, getting tired. So it'll be PD and communication specialists and then the rest, we should be able to start through the rest of the budget. There is nobody really else that has anything else major, everything else is there.
Any other questions on budget? Everyone good?
No, not really a question, but just from a general standpoint, I intend to like write something up with my thoughts and on a per department basis and present that either tomorrow or Tuesday.
Okay.
Thursday.
Thursday.
Don't confuse.
All right, I think that takes care of all of our council business this evening. Yeah, we can move on to council member comments. John, I'll let you go first.
I have none other than I apologize for not being there, but I guarantee you nobody wants this, so. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, John. All right, Sam?
Mine are primarily like capital planning and budget related, so I'll save them for Thursday.
Okay.
Yeah, I do want to address, where the planning board is with 1829. You know, we went, Mallory and I went to other last community meeting, last week. And I want to, thank them and actually for the work they've done to advance, where we are as far as the growth area at this point. They've shrunk it. I think they've put a lot of thought into it. I'm still praying, fingers crossed, all of them for an extension because, I think this is a massive, issue for the town. How we grow and develop over the next, generation. And, I think, and this is gonna fall to the planning board, but we need to start bringing some people along to what some of these changes are. And I think this compressed time schedule is making that extremely difficult. So I think with that in mind, and I think tomorrow night they're gonna make some recommendations on what those growth areas should be. They haven't been reduced in size. So I think we need to start, thankfully we'll have that in place. But ideally, soon, we hopefully will find out from the legislature whether there is an extension or not. And I really do in fact hope we get that so we can actually put a lot more thought into this, so. And I appreciate the people who've been coming to the meetings and again, the planning board's done. I guess my other question or comment is on our coffee with the counselors. Okay, well, what do you do? I'm good, thanks.
Joel?
Yes, positive feedback from Brittany Martin after we brought up the sidewalks, after it was discussed that one of the sidewalk things was broken and was fixed. Lower Main Street sidewalks had a great improvement, so thank you to the team for that. The blood drive at the rec department was great on Saturday, all the spots were filled. And the second coffee with counselors happened a couple weeks ago. Extremely positive, had 13 people attend. As we talked about the last one, a lot of new faces. One of the main topics brought up was budget creep and also how our property taxes line up with a lot of neighboring towns. And a lot of the discussion from that was we don't have a lot of business to help balance that. So when we brought up a lot of stuff that DeCarlo's doing, a lot of people were very positive about that. So thank you for all the work you're doing with that, DeCarlo. And looking forward to the next one. People seem very interested.
Great. Speaking of, that's one thing that I wanted to nail down this evening. The next one is scheduled, the next coffee with counselors is scheduled for March 28th at 9:30. Anyone who wants to participate?
Yeah, I haven't done one yet, so.
Okay, Sam, anyone else?
Okay.
Available that morning? Sam and Paul. All right, great. Everyone, you can chat with Sam and Paul on March 28th at 9:30. I wanna plug, an event coming up this coming weekend on Friday night at 7 PM at Marshall High School. Is a cabaret event. And actually, they're marketing it as something slightly different. But this is a fundraising event for the Martha Theater Program, and it's an opportunity for the students who typically perform in all the theater shows to perform as an individual, solo, which is an opportunity that kids don't get that often. And I understand that like some of the staff will also be performing, so it should be fun, and it's donation only, it should be a good time. And then I have a memo that I'd like to read and submit for the public record. It has been approximately 4 months since the council was seated in November. And during that time, I've become increasingly concerned about the growing amount of council business that is being conducted via email. Council business includes discussion among councilors, questions posed to one another or of staff, requests of staff, and criticism or debate regarding town matters. Increasingly, these types of exchanges are occurring in email threads and are not being repeated during our public meetings. Prior to this council, email communication among councilors was generally limited to logistical matters like scheduling meetings, confirming attendance, or sharing administrative information. Substantive discussions and deliberation occurred during public meetings where they belong. Despite multiple reminders from the council chair, myself, the town manager, and the town attorney about importance of limiting substantive council discussion over email, this pattern has continued. I also want to acknowledge that I agree with my fellow councilors that transparency in government can always be improved, and I'm incredibly grateful for and supportive of the recent efforts made by members of this council to increase transparency through the release and sharing of public documents. Those efforts are important and worthwhile. At the same time, transparency is not just about access to documents. It also requires that the council's discussion, questions, disagreements, and requests of staff take place in public whenever possible, so that residents can see how decisions are being shaped. There's also a certain irony here that I think is worth acknowledging. Several members of this council ran on a platform of increasing transparency in local government, a goal I share and support wholeheartedly. Yet the current pattern of conducting more substantive council business through email has had the opposite effect, making the council's deliberative process less visible to the public rather than more. The current practice represents a significant shift, and in my view, it moves the council in a direction that is less transparent to the public. Transparency is not simply about making documents or spreadsheets available to the public. It also means the work of governing, the discussion, the questioning, the disagreement, and the problem solving happens in public view. Government is also fundamentally different from the way private organizations operate. Municipal government is not run like a Fortune 500 company where internal discussions, strategy sessions, and decisions happen privately, and the public simply sees the final outcome. In local government, the discussion itself is part of the work that we were elected to do, and the public has the right to see it. The process, including the messy parts, the questions, the disagreements, and the evolving ideas, is supposed to happen in the open so that residents can understand how decisions are made and how their elected officials are thinking about the issues facing the community. As elected officials, I think that we have a responsibility to conduct our business in public whenever possible. That is not always the most efficient way to do work. Conversations happen in fits and starts. Progress feels slow, and sometimes those discussions could be wrapped up super quickly in an email, but we have to wait 2 weeks for the next meeting. I will admit this is the most frustrating part of the job for myself, but that slower, sometimes imperfect process exists for a reason. The public deserves to see how ideas are debated, how questions get asked, and how decisions take shape, not just the final vote after the real conversation has happened somewhere else. When substantive council business occurs primarily in email, the public loses visibility into that process. I also want to acknowledge that I myself have participated in some of these email exchanges. Most often, my intention has been to encourage the council to move those conversations back into our public meetings and into the public eye. Even so, I recognize that participating in those exchanges contributed to the same dynamic that I am raising here, which is why I believe it's important that we address the issue directly as a council. For that reason, I would like the council to consider placing an item on our upcoming agenda to discuss amending the town council rules of order and procedure. Specifically, I propose that on a bi-weekly basis, all council email communications, excluding anything related to confidential or personnel matters, be formally submitted to the public record just as we do for public comment. In addition, I suggest that the council take a one-time step to reconcile the past 4 months by compiling and submitting relevant email communications involving all 5 councilors since the seating of the new council in November. To understand the scale of this issue, I began to flag email correspondence in which substantive council business occurred, and thus far I've compiled 95 pages. This was done manually by myself, an imperfect human, and surely some emails have been missed or excluded by mistake. Instead of a tedious manual approach, I propose that we identify a systematic approach to identify these emails, perhaps in partnership with our IT partner Stellar, and then the council can review these materials to exclude any confidential or personnel-related correspondence, with the goal of submitting a package of relevant correspondence for the public record at our next meeting on March 24th. I believe these steps would provide a straightforward mechanism to ensure that any substantive council discussions conducted electronically remain accessible to the public and consistent with the spirit of open government. My intention in raising this issue is not to assign fault or draw attention to a problem, but to change our processes and evolve to ensure that our practices remain aligned with our shared responsibility to govern transparently and in the public's view. With that, I would like to offer up a motion to add an agenda item to our next meeting, to add an amendment to our town council rules of order addressing email communication. So we can discuss it and figure out how we as a council want to address it.
Second,
We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion?
Yeah, I suppose if this conversation such that you're describing, if you could, that 95 pages, if you could share them with the public.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And then, I guess that's the council. Another thing related to the IT, I know the counselor's email is, it's not a shared inbox. So maybe one way to perhaps assist with that gathering of information, because it's more like a listserv, you know what I mean? Is create a shared inbox so that every email that would otherwise go to the counselor's email also goes to a email outside of all of our emails. And that way that inbox itself would be a public record. Also, I believe FOA does not preclude emails from being requested. So therefore, emails themselves are already public records, but I understand the intention in getting it out there without having to be asked. I appreciate that.
And I think your idea of trying to kind of reconfigure our email inbox is exactly like the conversation I want to have, is figuring out a way, because I'll be honest, this 95-page exercise is kind of tedious and painful. So I would love to find a better way to do this, so that we can just hold ourselves accountable to being.
Are we, does this address emails that may come to individual counselors from constituents or?
I'm specifically referring to council business, which would be anything.
All
including
emails are
everybody.
public.
Well, yeah, I mean, if I get an email, so just to me, like, Paul, what's going on with this? You know,
All emails are so.
okay.
So we have a motion on the table to discuss this at our next council meeting. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye. John?
aye.
Sam?
Aye.
Paul?
Aye.
Joel?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 5-0. Thank you all for your understanding. I think we can rectify this, no problem. With that, anyone wanna do the honors?
Nope, I have, yeah,
Okay,
nope, sorry.
it's okay.
May I have two items. First, I want to inform the town council, all 5 members, that I have received a order request for ordering all your emails all the way back to November. Which means that I'll be calling you to set up a time unless you want to do it some other way. You can come in here, we can connect it to us, and we can print them off that way, but I have received the FOIA request. It's gonna be huge. I gotta get all your emails all the way back to your public emails off your computers. How you wanna send them to me. So I'm gonna try to do it 30 days. I'll be reaching out to you, or if you can wrap them up in PDFs, you wanna go through them. And send them to, somehow or another, we need to get them so we can print them so that the FOIA request is fulfilled.
Tim, are you okay if I drop my computer off?
Yes.
Okay,
Can I just offer, like, would it be possible for you to kind of compile all the parameters of this request so we are informed on what that is and send that to us, and then so we can each individually decide how we want to work.
And however I can help you get this accomplished, the easiest way will be whatever it takes. If you've got a different way of doing it, I'm happy with that. I just need to produce all the documents. I need to sort them, organize them, then get them within a FOIA request.
I think my concern initially would be, have we informed the requester, not knowing when this request came in, of a time frame by which they should expect the response, because obviously this could be a while to.
Yeah,
for
I
all
did.
of us to get.
Yeah, I did. I explained to them, this is with the budget. with everything else going on, you know, it's not within my, I have to prioritize what everything else is happening, so. We'll try to make it work, like I said, I'm hoping to get it done in a month. Depending on you folks, and again, I'm open to interpretation ideas on how to get that information, I just need to make sure that I can gather it, produce it, and provide it to the people who, to the person who's voted the request.
Could that BOA be shared with us as it would probably
Yeah,
otherwise be
yeah,
public
public
information?
information.
So that way we know what the content.
Yeah.
That the
Public
content and the
information.
date brings.
I'll do that, I just wanted to inform you tonight that I received one, and it's not a, I don't think it's an earth shattering thing, it happens from time to time, this isn't the first time it's happened in towns I've been in, so. It happens, people wanna see what's going on, and that's fine. I don't think we'll issue.
Did you have another item?
Yeah, I need to have an executive session, short one, 40568 personnel.
Okay, before we do that, just on the, kind of topic of kind of dealing with the public email, if it's. Like I said, I've already kind of tried to compile this as best as I can submit this to the clerk, so it's included in the, that 95 pages is included in our attachment for the next meeting, so it'll be available to the public, it'll be available to the council, and then that'll be part of our discussion on it. You have executive session, okay. I'll go ahead and make a motion to go into executive session, subject to 405(6)(a). Personnel. Can I second? We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, say aye. Sam?
Aye.
Paul?
Aye.
Paul?
Aye.
Aye. John? We're gonna call you?
No, executive session. Tim can brief me later.
Okay. Feel better, John. Take care.
Thank you.
Great
night.
Yeah, he
Okay.
Okay, and I can, and I can sign these today?
Yeah. I just.